Welcome to the Milk and Cookies podcast. This is the super amazing podcast that has absolutely everything to do with American football and nothing to do with milk and cookies. My name is Alex, joined today with Leon and Frankie. Anthony is not here today. He just wanted everybody to know that he's not dead. That's what he told me earlier, but I feel like he has to say that.
I was a little worried.
I know, right? The little awkward pause, yeah. But anyway, we're going to go over week 5, just breaking it down like usual. So without further ado, the Thursday night game was the Rams-Seahawks game. And Matthew Stafford was able to rally a late second half and be able to beat the Seahawks off of an injured Russell Wilson. So what? Russ was placed on IR, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think the Seahawks are going to suffer over the next couple of weeks?
No, I like Geno Smith.
Really?
Yeah, he's a good QB. He can run. He can fit the scheme. So
that's fair. Okay, but what about against Pittsburgh? Because they play Pittsburgh this week.
I think they'll lose to Pittsburgh.
I agree.
Here's the thing with Geno Smith, and he made some good throws on Thursday. Don't get me wrong, he was good, and what also is going to help him is Seattle has 2 great vertical threats, Lockett and Metcalf. But I worried once teams game plan specifically for Geno Smith if he's going to be able to find a way to still deliver. Sometimes when you're thrown in to a situation like Geno was thrown into last Thursday night, coming on in place of an injured player, you perform better because teams don't know who you are. Once he's on scouting reports, it's not going to change. And if anybody's wondering, Seattle's upcoming schedule, they're at Pittsburgh this Sunday. They're home against New Orleans next Monday night, 2 toss-up games. They're at home against Jacksonville. If they can't beat Jacksonville, they might as well be done. They're at Green Bay, home against Arizona, at Washington. That's through November. I see maybe 2 to 3 wins there, but is that going to be enough to keep them afloat for when Russell comes back?
No.
Certainly not in the NFC West race, but as far as a wild card, maybe.
I mean, if they finish 2-3 over the next 5 games, they'll be, 4-6 heading into week 11?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know many teams that heading into, week 9, week 10 that are losing records can pull off a playoff run, especially in a division tightly packed and hugely competitive as the West is.
Yeah, not yet. You don't have the luxury of being in the NFC East, and Washington was 2-7 last year and was still able to win the division.
Exactly. Well, now there's actually a forefront. There's actually a winner of the NFC East that looks more dominant than any team in that team or in that division this year, that being the Cowboys. Thank God that division's actually revitalized and came back to life. Now the new NFC East is the AFC South.
Yeah.
Which the leading team is Tennessee at 3-2.
Yeah, Dallas has been
unstoppable.
It's surprising to me, really, because I think we knew they were going to put up a lot of yards, maybe some points, but what's been mostly impressive to me has been their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Diggs is a ball magnet. They get after the quarterback, and I have to give credit to Dan Quinn and what that defense has been able to do. They are clearly the front runners in that division. And I'm not going to say it's a stretch to say they're one of the best teams in the NFC.
I agree. The NFC right now, you have the division leaders, that being the Cardinals, the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Bucs. And of those 4 teams, I would probably place Dallas number 4 in terms of the division leaders. But I mean, they're definitely better than half of that division minimum, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 10 teams that I think that they could beat in that division alone, or the conference itself. So let's see. New England struggled against Houston in Houston. Philadelphia pulled an upset against Carolina. What were you going to say, Frankie?
I mean, New England still pulled out a win, and that's without 4 starting offensive linemen.
Yeah, that is true.
But you're right. They did struggle against a team who's really not that good.
No, a team led by huge-necked Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Jesus, he looks like Mike Glennon.
Got a double last name is what he has.
Yeah. Atlanta pulled a win out of the Jets game as well in London. I can't stand the Jets at this point anymore. I don't know who's worse. I don't know who's performing worse right now. Is that doing Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson?
Both have not had great seasons.
Mm-mm. No. And I'm sounding like such a hypocrite because throughout the offseason, I was one of the few people that was like, how could you blame Tua off of one season? But now here I am sitting here being like, Zach Wilson does not look like an NFL quarterback and Trevor Lawrence is failing at every pressure. You know?
I think as well, I mean, you're right. I think with Zach Wilson, he's just not an NFL caliber quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, well, look how he played against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is a mess. And Trevor Lawrence, I think, you know, I never thought that he was going to succeed under Urban Meyer. I don't think it's a shock how they're doing right now, Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. Zach Wilson, though, I don't know.
I mean, 9 interceptions in the first 5 games. He's currently on pace to beat Peyton Manning's individual season record for most interceptions thrown in a season. Well, for a rookie.
Well, maybe that means he has a great season next year.
I guess. You never know. Let's see. New Orleans pulled out a huge win against Washington. Made it seem that they're still in the playoff race right now.
They are.
Minnesota and Detroit. God, I feel bad for Detroit.
What more ways are they going to find? Are they going to find to lose?
I don't know.
Are they going to miss a 20-yard field goal to lose a game at some point?
That would be kind of funny though. Just
it would be.
That.
And, yeah.
Let's see. What other? Oh, Leon, I want to hear your perspective on this. Last week, you were the only person to predict Chicago to win. So I want to hear firsthand from you. How Chicago succeeded in that game.
Well, the defense, I knew they were going to bring it, but I was looking at the Raiders secondary. They were missing 2 of their starting corners, but they still played good. But with everything, I just felt like the Bears had a better chance just having possessions and stuff. That's all it went. It was like 14-3 first half or something like that.
I believe so.
In the lead, basically.
I don't know. I like this revitalized Chicago. And honestly, you know, since Anthony's not here, I think I can say this safely without being yelled at. The second half Raiders curse is kind of hitting them early, you know?
Oh, well. I think you got to remember they were, in addition to what Leon, you said, with them missing 2 corners, I mean, they were dealing with a lot of other off-field matters this week. That's a mess out there. I mean, it was, and hopefully their interim head coach, I forget what his name is, hopefully he can get that turned around because I still think the Raiders have something in them. I really do.
No, I agree. It's just now that they don't have that key leadership piece in John Gruden anymore, who's going to step it up? Because now it's like they're not even relying on maybe raising, up, like promoting from within. They're looking outside. So there's already a hunt for who the next head coach is going to be. And they see that the forerunner is Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
I think that's a very, very good job. Whoever takes that job is going to be in a great position.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's not very much rebuilding really to do. The Raiders are a playoff caliber team if given the right leadership. That's similar to Kevin Stefanski taking over for the Browns last year, that he was given such a huge team already. He was gifted. It was like Matt LaFleur and the Packers.
I was just going to say that.
Exactly.
And
what's up?
I was going to just go into that Packers-Bengals game, Alex, if you don't mind. Because
by all means, man, go for it.
Bengals are my team. Here. First off, can we agree that was a bonkers game, at least from the final 2:12 of the fourth quarter through overtime?
Yeah, it was honestly insane. 5 missed field goals heading into, or not even between the last couple minutes and overtime.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But I think, you mentioned head coaches coming into certain situations. Matt LaFleur obviously came in I will say this. I think he deserves a lot more credit than he maybe has gotten. He's made Green Bay a run first team, and they are very, very good at it. The Bengals did a very good job on Aaron Jones. Heck, AJ Dillon had a better game, I think you could argue, than Aaron Jones did. Um, Zach Taylor came into the Bengals 2 years ago, and that was not a great situation. It was a roster that was in flux. It was terrible. It needed a rebuild. The culture needed, a makeover. And I'll give him credit. They've done it the last 2+ years. The Bengals, to me, I'm very hopeful for the direction that this team is going in after this game on Sunday. You hold Green Bay to 25 points, 22 points in regulation, no touchdowns after the first half, or after halftime, I should say. That's great. That's great right there. Their defense, the Bengals showed up when they needed to and made plays. Uh, After big plays from Devontae Adams, 59-yard catch, Aaron Jones, a 57-yard run. I like where this Bengals team is going. Jamar Chase, can we say right now Jamar Chase is front runner for Rookie of the Year on the offensive side?
I'd give it over what 400 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns in 5 games.
He's on pace for listen to this, Alex. He's on pace for 72 receptions, 1,550 yards, 17 touchdowns. That's Randy Moss numbers right there.
I agree.
I completely agree with you, Frankie. The fact that, take it from the draft. Before all of this happened, I was the first one to say that the Jamar Chase pick was a mistake and that they should have drafted Sewell. And honestly, I'm happily eating my own words now because the Bengals offensive line does not look as bad as what they're looking last year. They actually look better. They're giving Burrow time. And Jamar Chase is a stud.
He really is. And Alex, you mentioned the offensive line. Joe Burrow was sacked 3 times against Green Bay, but 3 times is not terrible. And that touchdown to Jamar Chase on Sunday. Look how much time Joe Burrow had in the pocket to throw that ball.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's interesting. You're not the only one that said that may have thought the Bengals made a mistake drafting Jamar Chase. I think a lot of people did. I didn't think they did. That debate will be settled on Sunday when the Bengals play the Lions. And by the way, Penei Sewell on Sunday against Minnesota, Everson Griffin had a real nice first quarter against him.
Yeah, he played a bad game. They said he was a bust after that.
They're saying they said Sewell was a bust?
I've seen some good things from him this season, but I don't know. He's young. He's the youngest player in the league. He just turned 21 on Saturday. So, but yeah, he's going up against Trey Hendrickson on Sunday. That'll be fun.
That'll be difficult it'll be a difficult matchup, but you also have to admit, Sewell was, he's a rookie. You have to give rookies a lot of credit. Usually within the first 2 years, you kind of shove all the imperfections into a corner, but Penei Sewell was the highest graded offensive lineman to ever hit the draft and was honestly the most highly anticipated lineman in the past decade, actually in the past 2 decades. People were reviewing him as the biggest, most the lockdown left tackle that everybody could have had. And you know what? He's allowed a couple sacks, but then again, that was a transition. He was in what division is Oregon in? Pac-12. Pac-12.
But that's why I didn't want Penei Sewell, because the Pac-12, name me the last great defensive lineman to come out of that league. Kenny Clark? Okay, fine. But give me a wide receiver that goes up against the best corners and the best conference in Jamar Chase, and what he did against Alabama in 2019, what he did against Eric Stokes in Georgia in the SEC championship game. Give me that guy any day over Penei Sewell. Seriously. And it's interesting. I lost my train of thought there a little bit, but what I'm saying is the Lions injury report for Sunday is not very good. And they're going to have a lot of key players out for that game. I'm looking at it right now. Trey Flowers questionable. Jamal Williams is now questionable. DeAndre Swift is now questionable. Both running backs did. TJ Hawkinson didn't practice today. Taylor Decker, their offensive tackle, was on injured reserve. Actually, no. Returned to practice from injured reserve today. Quintez Cephas on injured reserve. Frank Ragnow, their center, on injured reserve. Tyrell Williams on injured reserve. Listen to all these players I'm mentioning.
They're not second stringers. They're not third stringers. Those are starter guys right there.
Yes. All right.
The Lions are going to have a difficult time this year, I will say. But here, I got an interesting one because Frankie, you and I got this game correct last week. Pittsburgh beating Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think Teddy Bridgewater wasn't mentally right coming in because he had a concussion the previous week. The Steelers, give them credit. They found a way to run the ball. Big Ben had a decent game. I say this as someone who loathes them, but yeah, they may have saved their season potentially. And they got a winnable game this Sunday against Seattle.
They do. The Sunday night game, too.
Yeah, which I'm okay with that game being Sunday. Well, actually, no. I think Chargers Ravens should have been flexed to Sunday Night Football, but that opportunity passed. Good win for Pittsburgh. Denver, maybe their 3-0 start might be starting to become a little bit of a fluke.
That's fair. Now, they have a big divisional game this week. They play Vegas at Denver, and Teddy Bridgewater is off concussion protocol. He is active.
That is a big game.
And he is not questionable, which means that he is the starter. We have no Drew Lock. So now you have Teddy B with that offense in Denver playing Vegas, which is basically the battle for second place.
I think whoever wins that game, it's kind of like a win like you needed, like oxygen kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Whoever loses that game, that could really start to set their season off the rails. And you may start hearing, whenever things happen like that, do you think whenever a team loses a game like this, it'd be their third straight loss, that we might start hearing things come out of their locker room and stuff like that? Doesn't that happen?
This is a must-win for both teams. They both started off 3-0 and now are descended to 3-2 in a divisional game that could determine if they are starting 3-3 or if they're starting to look for the playoffs. Because winner goes 4-2 and has a better chance of making the playoffs because they'll be a game and a half above their opponent.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think you have to remember, like a 17-game season, it doesn't even feel like it's like that much of a must-win game. Like a 17-game season, it makes it feel like it's a much longer season than it actually is.
No, it does. It does. I mean, the win, the must-win, it's less important now. But I mean, still, divisional opponent early. Yeah. Both teams are 3-2. It's still just as important as what it could have been last year.
And it's the first divisional game for both teams.
Yes, that is. Yeah. Now, let's see. Oh, let's talk about the shootout of the week. Cleveland at Chargers, 42-47. Oh my God! If you had Herbert or Eckler on your fantasy team, my God, I hope you won. That was an insane game.
It was. You know what? I never thought I'd say this. I think the Chargers are the best team in the AFC West right now.
Yeah. I want to say yes.
Well, who else are you going to say? Kansas City? They're 2-3 though.
I'm just mad at Kansas City is the best team because the Chargers defense, both of their defense. I just think they got the Chiefs on a bad day the first game. Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West, regardless of their record.
I don't know. I mean, it's fair, Leon, to say that, but to me, and we'll get to it in a minute, I'm sure, Alex, but you watch Kansas City's defense on Sunday night, they were atrocious. LA's defense was too on Sunday, don't get me wrong, but they've had much better performances throughout the season so far than Kansas City's.
The thing is, I gotta side with Leon on this. I still think Kansas City is the best team, mainly because you got to look at their losses. A 1-point loss off of a fumble with Baltimore, a missed field goal attempt in the Chargers game, and now being absolutely blown out by Buffalo. I mean,
they're tough.
Bills are the best team in the AFC,
without question.
Without question, that game at 38-20. I mean, it wasn't even close. 18 points against former Super Bowl rivals. Did I say that right? Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think you're definitely. I mean, Buffalo made a statement. I mean, they made the big week. They are the best team in the AFC.
They are. They are the front runners to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC right now, in my opinion.
I'm going to give you a bold take. Well, it may not be that bold, but I'm going to give you a bold take. You ready? Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the NFL right now.
Holy wow! What, because of that? Because of that game? That what the Monday?
Alex, he has more total yards by himself than 19 other teams in the league, or 18, I think.
It's either him or Josh Allen. Let's just say that.
You put Josh Allen over Justin Herbert.
Oh my God, I can't commit to an MVP right now.
Yeah, not right now. Just give me a little bit more. Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah, but what Lamar Jackson did on Monday night, I think he silenced a lot of critics. Well, you can't play from behind. They were down 22-3. Well, you can't throw the ball down the field. Did you see some of the throws he made? Well, he's not accurate with the football.
422 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, and probably one of the best comebacks I've seen in a very long time.
Yes.
I mean,
forget Lamar. He threw the ball 43 times, which he doesn't normally do. And he completed 37 of them.
That's impressive. 86% completion percentage.
That was amazing.
It was fantastic.
Amazing.
He's clearly the best quarterback in the AFC North. I remember.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
We had this debate on another podcast I do. If Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the AFC North, and I was hesitant to say yes because of what Lamar Jackson had done through the first 4 weeks of the season. And then Monday night he comes out, and it's like, yeah, he is.
Dang. I agree. That was insane. 37-43, 4 TDs.
It was a heck of a game. I mean, did you see the run? Like, did you see what their run offense did? Like, that streak that they had, like that huge NFL streak was broken. Because Lamar did not necessarily run the ball all too well.
He leads the team in rushing yards. That's he's balling.
The Ravens have never had a quarterback prior to Lamar Jackson that struck fear in opposing defenses. Joe Flacco didn't strike fear in opposing defenses outside of his cannon arm, which eventually fizzled out after a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, the late great Steve McNair was only there for 2 years. Dilfer was, he has a Super Bowl and all that, but he didn't strike.
Well,
Kyle Bowler, no.
I mean, I said this earlier. I said this during the offseason. I think Leon might remember this. That I said Lamar Jackson is either going to be a deep playoff runner or he's going to be 5-12. And there's nowhere between. It's going to be depending on if defenses can lock him down. If they can stop his running ability, I said that the Ravens might finish bottom in the AFC North at like 5-12. I think is what I originally said if they could stop it. But right now, it's unbelievable that Baltimore had that more dual threat mentality, and then Lamar Jackson is like, you know what? Let me just throw 422 yards, 4 touchdowns.
It's amazing too because you think about all the players the Ravens don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
their wide receiver core is not stacked like anybody else. I mean, look at Kansas City's. Look at the Vikings. Look at Buffalo. I mean, look at the Chargers, for God's sake. Seattle. Look at all those loaded wide receiver rooms and all those big names, and then look at what Lamar's working with in Baltimore. Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Sammy Watkins. I mean, those are serviceable guys. I mean, gosh darn. I mean, Mark Andrews could be and maybe debatable to be a top 5 tight end.
I think he is.
I mean, I'd say he's number 4 or 5, right behind Waller.
I think you're seeing the connection too between Jackson and Marquise Brown. It keeps improving every week.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
He missed some deep shots in week 3, or they missed some deep shots in week 3. Last week against Denver, they had a 49-yarder, and then this week they had another 50-yard touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So if that continues to improve, this offense is only going to be that much more unstoppable. But to your point, Alex, the Ravens the last 3 years since this innovative offense has been in store, they've never had a great receiving core. Someone brought this up to me in 2019. I think Michael Thomas, when he had 144 catches for the Saints that year, that was more than the entire Ravens receiving core combined.
I believe it.
To put it in that perspective.
I mean, here's the thing. Lamar ran the ball because he didn't have any serviceable wide receivers that were always open. I think that was the one point that I think a lot of people would always miss, and they always called him the running back of the Baltimore Ravens. Because look what he had 2 years ago. He had Sammy Watkins, Willie Snead, and a rookie Marquise Brown. Those were his 3 wide receivers. And now look what he has now. A deeper connection with Brown. Sammy Watkins is back. And honestly, it's not just week 1 Sammy Watkins that explodes. It's every week Sammy Watkins. I mean, But so that's just Baltimore. Baltimore is they're currently first in the North, right?
They are.
They are. But tied with the Bengals because you guys are.
They're no. The Ravens are 4-1. The Bengals and Browns are 3-2, and then
3-2. Yeah.
3.
So all right, here just last game. I guess last better game before we cut this one off. Let's see. I don't want to talk about the Dallas game because I feel so bad for the Giants, and now half their offense is banged up heading into the Rams. So
massive step back after a big one in New Orleans.
Yeah, no kidding. They lose Daniel. Did you see Daniel Jones stumbling? I mean, Jesus, the CTE was setting into his brain.
Yeah, that was bad. And then the Saquon injury was bad. I mean, just a bad day if you're the Giants.
Kenny Golladay is injured. He's doubtful to play. Darius Slayton is technically questionable, and he's not looking to play. Right now, the receiving core, their only noticeable or big name guy is Kadarius Toney, their first round draft pick.
Well, and he also
keep his head in the game.
I mean, yeah, Tony was lighting up a Cowboys defense when he wasn't punching the Cowboys secondary.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and then Arizona is still the only team to be undefeated, 5-0, beating San Fran 17-10. I'm kind of a little worried heading into Week 6 when they play Cleveland. I'm not going to lie to you.
I am too, because I mean it's a East Coast road trip, but I think the bigger concern is San Francisco.
Yeah, they are, but they're 3-2 right now, right?
They're 2-3, and they keep losing players to IR. I mean, that's a dire situation out there.
It's just like last year.
Yeah, and it sucks for a team that, you know, I had high expectations for coming into the season. I think a lot of us did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their season is falling off. Their season may be falling off the rails.
Yeah, I agree.
I completely agree. Well,
by the way, Week 14, Monday Night Football, Rams at Cardinals. If those two teams keep winning, that could be a special game.
Do you remember during that one season that Jared Goff was going crazy, the Kansas City Rams game?
Oh, how can you not remember that game?
In Mexico, that was just a complete shootout. I would not be surprised if it's that kind of game.
It could be. That game was in LA, but because Mexico they were worried about the elevation down or no, what was it that they were worried about? I think it was the elevation, and then the fact that those fires happened in LA and they wanted to have the game there to dedicate it to them, the fire department out there. So I do remember that game though. That was
51-48.
I mean, the throw that Mahomes made to Tyreek Hill in that game, I think he threw it 70 yards in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're watching that and you go, just how?
How do you beat that? You can't.
You can't.
You can't. So, but honestly, I think that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. The next episode, we'll go over our predictions for the week. We have a very interesting predictions, not interesting, but just kind of records. Nothing's really changed, but just a lot of wins. But again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys real soon.